Hello, St. Philip Lutheran Church and friends. This is Pastor Brad Doty coming to you on Maundy Thursday, this week of Holy Week. Yes, Maundy, not Monday, the day, but Maundy, which is short for mandatum, a Latin word meaning command. Just as Jesus in the Gospel of John commands his disciples to love and serve one another. He says in chapter 13, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. In the Gospel of John as well, Jesus washes his disciples' feet, showing them that he came to serve and not just be served. There is so much that goes on in this Last Supper, or this Passover meal, in the Feast of Unleavened Bread. In the Synoptic Gospels as well, it includes this tradition, which also includes the institution of the Lord's Supper, which is why we have our First Communion students receive their First Communion. This night where Jesus took bread, gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take, eat, this is my body." And taking the cup, saying, "This is my blood given for you." That we remember all that Jesus did for our sake, so that we have this bread and wine to remember how Jesus offered himself and sacrificed himself for us. Well, in this meal, Jesus also tells the disciples that one of them will betray him, and tells that Peter will deny him. And so much going on in this special meal for their disciples. Well, this evening at St. Philip, we will participate in our Seder meal, a traditional meal tied very closely with the Passover meal. I want to read for you the introduction that we have in our booklet that we use for our Seder meal, to help us understand this connection and the meaning of the Passover meal. So as Christians, we tend to think of Maundy Thursday as the night of the Last Supper. But when Jesus gathered his disciples together on that fateful night, he was gathering his friends to celebrate the Jewish Passover. In fact, Jesus celebrated Passover every year of his life, because it was a celebration commanded by God. This is a celebration of enormous love and miracles. You have the plagues on Pharaoh and the Egyptians, the parting of the Red Sea, and God's presence with his people in the tabernacle. On Maundy Thursday, we celebrate Passover, Pesach in Hebrew. We do that by participating in a Seder meal. It is based on the traditional Jewish celebration of Passover, but adopted into a uniquely Christian celebration. We have retained as much as possible from the traditional Jewish observance. And this reminds us that God did not begin his revelation of himself in a world with Christians, but to Hebrews, to Israelites, to the Jews first. It also reminds us that Jesus was not a Christian, but a Jew. It is only in recognizing that connection we have to 4,000 years of God at work creating a people that we can truly appreciate who we are as God's people. So Passover is a celebration of God's love for the Jewish people and his redeeming them from slavery. There is singing, there are games, and there is much storytelling. It is a time for the older generations to pass along the teaching and tradition to the younger generation. Passover is about symbolism. The food, the blessings, the story, the dishes, the candles, everything is a symbol to help teach. Passover is about charity. The Jewish nation understands what slavery, poverty, homelessness, and oppression are all about. And this is a call to reach out to others. You will see that in the story of Elijah. Passover is about family. Eating together is a sign of friendship and acceptance. At the Last Supper, Jesus turned eating together with his closest disciples into a new command, a way of life, and a new covenant. So why do we celebrate First Communion with a Passover Seder meal? So we can understand the rich tradition and the reverence for God, the true meaning of what Jesus did at the Last Supper, and how that has changed our relationship with God forever. So on this Passover meal, we are reminded of God's love and of God's presence, not just today, but in the work of the tradition of people of all times through the Israelites. So may God bless you this Maundy Thursday, that you too may know God's love for you and God's command for us to love one another. Have a blessed Maundy Thursday.